Wang Li's breakthrough to spirit power level 20 was first noticed by Ling Lao and then by Chairman Gorfa. The whole process had taken less than half an hour. When they received the news, they both laughed out loud. Ha! After laughing, Gorfa asked with real concern, Wang Li, cultivation is important, but you must advance steadily. You broke from spirit power level 15 to level 20 in a single semester. Have you felt any discomfort in your body or spirit? Wang Li had already anticipated the question. He pretended to think for a moment and then answered, Chairman, I haven't felt any discomfort. Last semester, under Ling Lao's arrangement, I trained in the forest behind the academy. While training, my spirit and spirit power were much more active than usual, so my cultivation progressed faster. He wasn't lying. In that forest, his spirit had been far more stimulated. Both Gorfa and Ling Lao picked up on the implication immediately. Mimicry, a cultivation environment. Wang Li's spirit was a mutated blue-silver grass, so finding an environment that mimicked its nature was relatively easy. Mutated spirit plus a suitable mimicry environment explained the rapid advance. Gorfa briefly wondered if the grade requirement he'd set for Wang Li had been too low, but the quicker Wang Li grew, the better it reflected on the academy. If he could train a student who could rival a genius from a major sect, that would be prestige for Gorfa as well. Getting back to business, Gorfa looked at Wang Li. You're already level 20. It's time to claim your second spirit ring and become a spirit grandmaster. You're the student union chairman and a talent I value. I'll personally help you hunt for a spirit ring. When do you want to leave? Wang Li's spirits lifted at the offer. On the Douluo Continent, to ascend to the next realm, one had to hunt a spirit beast and obtain a spirit ring. It wasn't the title that mattered to him as much as the chance for the chairman to personally ensure he found a suitable spirit beast. He answered at once, Chairman, I can leave any time. Gorfa nodded and then asked Ling Lao. Ling Lao, please have Director Yang from External Affairs arrange a carriage, prepare a token, healing medicines, antidotes, insect and snake repellent powder, and for food, pack enough for half a month for now. If we're lucky, we'll be back in a few days. If not, we'll have to stay in the Hunting Soul Forest for a while. Ling Lao understood that Gorfa planned to help Wang Li hunt a plant spirit beast of the right age and quality. Wang Li deserved that care. He smiled. Yes. Gorfa then turned to Wang Li. It's probably too late today. Rest and adjust your state. We'll depart tomorrow morning. Wang Li replied. After leaving the chairman's study, Ling Lao gave Wang Li a few more instructions. When they went into the Hunting Soul Forest, he must always stay close to Gorfa. Even though Wang Li's strength had improved, high-grade spirit beasts were still dangerous. Wang Li agreed to all the cautions, and Ling Lao left satisfied. Wang Li returned to his dormitory to find Wang Sheng staring at him like he'd seen a ghost. Wang Li grinned. You already heard. Wang Sheng swallowed and nodded. The news came through the student union. Do you really have spirit power level 20? A secret spoken aloud was no longer a secret, so Wang Li admitted, yeah, I broke through some time ago. Hearing it directly from Wang Li, Wang Sheng's face went through an exaggerated series of expressions. 4 months ago, he had just reached level 13 and was struggling toward level 14. He'd hoped to close the gap with Wang Li before the year's end, but now it was clear Wang Li was still streaks ahead. He gave a bitter laugh and said, At your current speed, even Tang San and Xiao Wu won't catch up, right? Wang Li lay back on his bed and thought for a moment. It's not that I have some miraculous speed. The Intermediate Soulmaster Academy gives me the best environment to cultivate. Tang San works in a forge every day, and Xiao Wu just runs around all over. Even if they have great talent, they're wasting it. Wang Sheng had to admit the point. Tang San and Xiao Wu are already spirit masters, yet they're still at Nodding Academy. I really don't understand them. Wang Li knew why. The Shrek school recruited by Yu Xiaogang, an academy that took in monsters, had a teaching style and environment far inferior to the Intermediate Soul Master Academy. Its instructors were more fighters than teachers. It didn't matter. Wang Li had no intention of going there. The next morning, Wang Li boarded the carriage with Gorfa and left Ligia Academy for the Hunting Soul Forest. Gorfa waved his hand and a mountain of food, potions and supplies vanished into a storage spirit tool tucked in the carriage. He looked at Wang Li with a smile. Storage spirit tool. If you keep cultivating like this, you'll get one soon. Wang Li nodded. Then Gorfa got to the most important point. For your second spirit ring, I have two suggestions. One is to enhance yourself, improve the extensibility and toughness of your spirit. The other is to have an effect on enemies. I know many plant spirit beasts, whose pollen makes people drowsy, whose floral scent weakens opponents, and some that carry potent toxins. If such properties attach to your spirit, they can continuously debilitate enemies in battle. Think it over carefully. Don't rush your answer. This will determine your future combat style, so consider it seriously. He paused, then added gravely, one more thing. If you ever run into a fire attribute spirit master or spirit beast, avoid fighting unless absolutely necessary. I know how vulnerable plant spirits are to fire. Wang Li answered solemnly, I understand, Chairman. He already had an idea in mind, but it wasn't decided yet. Half a day later, they reached the Hunting Soul Forest. There were several Hunting Soul Forests. The one Gorfa brought Wang Li to this time was clearly larger than the one they'd visited before. At the edge of the forest, Gorfa had the coachmen park the carriage at an inn, then he and Wang Li entered the trees alone. Try to keep up with me, Gorfa said, and was gone in an instant. He didn't summon his spirit. His physical body, strengthened by being a spirit king, was fast enough on its own. Wang Li followed, using instant step to keep a steady 1 to 2 meters behind. He didn't sprint flat out. He trusted Gorfa wouldn't leave him, so he conserved spirit power and kept recovery steady. Gorfa kept glancing back as they ran, and only when he saw Wang Li holding the pace did he relax. The outer reaches held nothing worth hunting. 10-year spirit beasts they ignored. Gorfa spoke quietly as they moved toward the heart of the forest. There aren't any good spirit beasts in the outer areas. I'll take you to the core, where 100-year spirit beasts gather. You'll have more choices there. Wang Li knew the outskirts rarely hid anything older than 100 years, and that for his second soul skill, he'd ideally need a spirit beast at least 600 or 700 years old. 1,000-year ones would be riskier. Thank you, Dean, he said. By dusk, they neared the forest core, but didn't enter. They camped just outside for the night and went in at first light. As Gorfa had said, the core held many 100-year spirit beasts. Gorfa often drove them off rather than fighting. No need to waste time or draw trouble when they were hunting one specific target. They scoped many beasts and even some plant spirit beasts, but none had the right combination of age and quality Wang Li wanted. Gorfa was patient, walking the forest with him and never seeming to tire. On the second day, the sound of wolves howling and fighting drew them in. They hid and hurried to the source. A pack of wolves was locked in combat with a snake. From size and movement, Wang Li recognized the wolves as nether wolves, 700 or 800 years old, and the snake as a datura snake, likely a 1,000-year spirit beast. The wolves were many, but the datura snake's speed and venom gave it the upper hand. No wonder they're fighting, Gorfa murmured. They're fighting over a crimson blood Ganoderma king. Judging by its size, 70 to 80 centimeters, it's a 7, maybe 800-year-old specimen. Wang Li found the crimson blood Ganoderma king among the skirmish. Crimson blood Ganoderma is a medicinal fungus. It rapidly heals external wounds, replenishes blood, and consolidates qi. Wild specimens that reach a certain age become sentient, turning into plant spirit beasts. The crimson blood Ganoderma king is the finest of its kind. Many 100-year or even 1,000-year spirit beasts guard one, and the king can spray spores that latch onto other creatures and absorb vitality. Rarely fatal, but highly troublesome. Wang Li's eyes lit up. The Ganoderma king's healing and spore abilities weren't exactly in his planned range, but the idea appealed to him. Instead of force-fitting unrelated traits onto blue-silver grass, perhaps a similar plant power would spark a qualitative change. He stepped forward and said earnestly, Dean, I want that crimson blood Ganoderma king. Whether I inherit its healing or its spore ability, I can accept it. Gorfa was surprised. That wasn't the plan they'd discussed. He frowned and asked to be sure. Are you certain? Wang Li nodded. I'm sure. No regrets? Gorfa pressed. No regrets, Wang Li repeated. Gorfa exhaled. The Ganoderma King's healing and spore traits weren't an obvious fit for blue-silver grass, but since both were plants, there might be a way. All right, they waited. Once the Datura snake had beaten off the nether wolves, but was wounded and exhausted, Gorfa acted. He attached his spirit and transformed into his leopard man form. 5 spirit rings glowed on him, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, and a final, incredibly deep black ring that made his presence breathtaking. He chased the Datura snake away, then breathed a gout of flame that set the Crimson Blood Ganoderma King aflame, leaving it dying. Wang Li moved in and finished it. With Gorfa covering him, he calmly absorbed the spirit ring from the Ganoderma King. This one was at least 700 years old. Gorfa shook his head as the absorption completed. Once it began, there was no turning back. He could only hope the prodigy before him would gain something useful. Power from the spirit ring surged into Wang Li. Something within him stirred, pushed out, and began merging with that power. The Ganoderma King's force was great, but Wang Li's body and meditation methods kept it in check. It was a tense process, but not life-threatening. It took 2 hours to stabilize and fully integrate. After 2 hours, Wang Li opened his eyes and checked his panel, heart hammering. The second soul skill slot updated, and his gamble paid off. Spirit ability, revival, releases life force, awakens vitality in things, heals injuries, and resists abnormal states such as death, poisoning, weakness, aging. Source: Crimson Blood Ganoderma King, the finest of Crimson Blood Ganoderma, specializes in external wound healing. Age: Wang Li's eyes widened. He had gambled correctly. Chapter 43: Future Plans. Wang Li felt a surge of excitement, but it faded quickly. The spirit ability he had just gained was extraordinary, but he couldn't fully unleash it yet. His spirit power was too low. He had already discovered a very strong healing power within it, but more than that, it could resist abnormal conditions, even death. To stay alive and remain combat effective with his heart shattered and a gaping wound in his chest would require an enormous amount of spirit power to continuously sustain the revival spirit ability while his body repaired itself. His mutated blue-silver grass-level vitality recovered slowly. If his vitality reached blue-silver emperor level, then even with grievous injury, as long as revival kept sustaining his life, he would recover quickly. He thought of Tang San's mother, the previous blue-silver emperor, whose life force had been so tenacious she could be reborn as a seed after sacrificing herself. His own second-level blue-silver grass was far from that. For this spirit ability, basic healing was almost secondary. Its true expression was resisting abnormal statuses. He couldn't fully demonstrate that yet, but the ability had already revealed his potential. Wasting that potential would be a grave regret. Wang Li's eyes shone. His current strength was modest, so he would keep a low profile for now. But when he grew stronger, he refused to believe anyone could incinerate him at a glance. He now had a life-saving trump card. He wondered how long revival would sustain him if his heart were shattered at Spirit Grandmaster realm, though of course he had no intention of testing it. Maybe someday he could acquire a spirit ability that absorbed spirit power, letting him maintain revival even at a lower realm. Gorfa noticed Wang Li had woken, and seeing the smile on his face, guessed he had obtained something valuable. Curious, he asked, "So, how is it? What does the spirit ability do?" Wang Li hesitated, then described it carefully. It's a very powerful healing spirit ability. It can remove some negative statuses, mild poisoning, slight weakness, that sort of thing. He deliberately emphasized healing and downplayed the ability to resist death. That aspect was too startling to reveal. Gorfa nodded without suspicion. Good. Even if the second soul skill didn't further enhance your control like the first soul skill did, having a healing spirit ability will greatly increase your survivability in future battles. He smiled. Being able to control and assist will make you sought after wherever you go. It's a very good development path. Wang Li stood and bowed earnestly. All thanks to you, Dean. Gorfa laughed. This was your choice, he said, pleased. Now that you've absorbed the second soul ring, what's your spirit power level? Wang Li checked his panel once more. Spirit power, level 21, 95%, he replied. I feel level 22 isn't far off. After returning to the academy and meditating a few times, I should be able to break through. Gorfa's smile deepened. He clicked his tongue. The spirit ring you absorbed from the Scarlet Blood Ganoderma King isn't young. Gains like this are normal, but don't be complacent. The gap between the Spirit Grandmaster stage and the Spirit Master stage is huge. Plenty of Spirit Masters of middling talent get stuck in the Spirit Grandmaster realm for life. He met Wang Li's eyes. After you go back, keep cultivating. With your talent, I don't want to see you waste time in the Spirit Grandmaster realm. Wang Li understood how much harder cultivation got at higher realms. Even so, realm advancement wasn't solely dependent on training. He replied solemnly, "Yes, Dean." Gorfa planned what to do with the Scarlet Blood Ganoderma King. "I'll process this and will return to the academy. Even dead, it's a fine medicinal ingredient. I'll give it to Director Yang of the Foreign Affairs Department and have the pharmacists make potions." He explained the practical need. There aren't many auxiliary spirit masters in the academy. Combat personnel from the Foreign Affairs Department should carry some potions on missions. They can be life-saving. Wang Li had no objections. Gorfa processed the Ganoderma King in a crude but effective way, evaporating its moisture with high heat. That method reduced some potency, but made the material easier to preserve. Dugu Bo's Wishful 100 treasure purse, which could store living things, was an exceedingly rare treasure on the continent. Since they lacked such conveniences, drying the material was the best option. With everything handled, Gorfa and Wang Li set out for Ligia Academy. Because they were deep in the core of the Hunting Soul Forest, it took them 2 days to get out and return to Ligia City. On the way back, they stopped at the Spirit Hall to update Wang Li's Spirit Master certificate. As a level 21 Spirit Grandmaster, his stipend was finally 10 gold coins, a tenfold increase in income. Back at the academy, Wang Li bade farewell to Gorfa and first went to report his safe return to Ling Lao. Ling Lao, curious about Wang Li's second soul skill, listened as Wang Li repeated the same measured explanation. A very powerful healing spirit ability. It can remove some negative statuses, mild poisoning, and slight weakness. Ling Lao's brows furrowed briefly, then relaxed. For the blue silvergrass spirit, auxiliary and control roles were indeed appropriate. "Not bad," he said. "Being able to control and assist and having broken through to Spirit Grandmaster, you've already met the Academy's graduation standard. Now it's about combining your first and second soul skills into a combat style that suits you so you won't panic facing enemies in the future." He leaned back. "Also, keep cultivating. Your mutated blue silvergrass gains most quickly in the forest behind the Academy. Go there often. So what are your plans?" Wang Li met Ling Lao's gaze and smiled. "Ling Lao, now that I'm a Spirit Grandmaster, I want to go to the Ligia Great Spirit Arena and take part in more real combat." 44. Fighting Soul, the first battle, Great Spirit Arena, actual combat. Ling Lao looked surprised to hear it, but after a moment, he thought it through. Wang Li was already a Spirit Grandmaster. He should be getting actual combat experience. So he said, more calmly, "That's good. Real matches between Spirit Grandmasters will do more for your growth. But I have some advice. You should enter gambit matches, sparring matches. Don't touch death matches or betting matches. Gambit matches are about proving who's better, not life or death. The other two decide both superiority and survival. You're still young. You don't understand. Dirty adults will use all kinds of underhanded, ruthless tricks to try to kill an 8-year-old like you." His voice faltered, and his face went pale at the thought. An 8-year-old Spirit Grandmaster. It sounded absurd, but Ling Lao had helped train him. This, ridiculous as it sounded, made a strange kind of sense. Wang Li nodded. He did want sparring matches. He had never truly killed anyone and wasn't sure he could bring himself to do it, though he thought it shouldn't be so different from hunting spirit beasts. He decided he'd watch a few death and betting matches first, then decide. "I understand, Ling Lao," he said. Ling Lao came back to himself and added one more instruction. "When you go, wear your school uniform. That way you can confidently sign up." He understood why. The Great Spirit Arena had a way of luring exceptional but background-less spirit masters into becoming cash machines for the organization. Behind the arena's glitter lay a tangled mess of interests. Ling Lao's warning was protection. Wang Li accepted it gratefully. "All right, go rest for now. You just came back from the Hunting Soul Forest. It's not urgent to go to the arena today. Wait a few days." Wang Li bowed, then left for the academy. He relaxed. What he didn't know was that his return had already caused a stir. When he enrolled 10 months earlier, he had defeated many senior students and topped his class. Now, after only half a year, he had broken through to level 20 spirit power and gotten a spirit ring, becoming a spirit grandmaster. The rumor of his meteoric rise excited everyone and rekindled their hunger to train. Gorfa had once told him to be a good example. Wang Li had done exactly that, though he didn't care much for the fuss. He trained diligently for 5 days and broke through again to level 22. Then he decided to go to the Great Spirit Arena to earn money and gain experience if he could beat his opponents. Dressed in Ligia Academy's uniform, he approached the registration desk. The staff politely hinted that this place wasn't really for spirit masters like him. Wang Li answered calmly, "My name is Wang Li, a student of Ligia Academy. My spirit is mutated blue-silver grass, and my spirit power is level 22. I know what I'm doing. Register me." The staff fell silent, a mix of curiosity and respect on their faces. A level 22 spirit grandmaster before graduation was a prodigy. They didn't ask about age or background. This was the Great Spirit Arena, not the Spirit Hall. After collecting 10 gold coins as the registration fee, they handed him a contestant certificate and an Iron Spirit battle badge. Wang Li muttered, "Registration fees are expensive. I need to earn those 10 gold back today," and signed up for a one-on-one spirit battle. Less than 10 minutes later, his name was called in a sub-arena. He found his way to the stage a bit late, so his opponent and the referee were already in position. As he stepped out in his school uniform, the crowd's surprise and excitement swelled. The referee commentator announced them in his booming voice. "Friends, our contestants are ready. On one side is our regular, Ye Fei. Spirit is the striped cat, spirit power level 27. He's already won 2 matches in a row. And on the other side, a newcomer to the Great Spirit Arena, Wang Li, a genius from Ligia Academy. His spirit is mutated blue-silver grass, and his spirit power is level 22. Will Ye Fei's streak continue, or will the newcomer turn the tides? Both contestants, activate your spirits." Ye Fei called, "Spirit possession." Wang Li replied, "Spirit release." Ye Fei's pupils narrowed. He was surrounded by a white and a yellow spirit ring, and he noticed the 2 yellow rings circling Wang Li with a sting of shock and jealousy. Medium height and slender, Ye Fei's aura turned murderous as he set his pride on teaching the youngster a lesson. As a level 27 spirit grandmaster, he wanted to make a show of it, even if he couldn't go all out. "First soul skill, swift charge," he shouted. "Second soul skill, bloodthirsty claws." His figure blurred, rushing toward Wang Li like a streak of wind. Wang Li barely raised his eyelids. He had already tracked Ye Fei's trajectory and calculated where to intercept. "Blue-silver, growth," he said. The mutated blue-silver grass erupted, moving with uncanny foresight. It shot out and caught Ye Fei's legs 3 meters from him, tangling them. Ye Fei stared in disbelief at the grass binding his limbs, then looked up to see Wang Li suddenly much larger in his view. A sidekick landed squarely on his head. Buzz! Buzz! Dizziness! Ye Fei's body sailed to the side as the blue-silver grass tightened its hold. When he landed and blinked the stars from his vision, a large foot filled his sight. Bang! Wang Li didn't actually step on him, but the foot was so close, Ye Fei braced for the impact. "Announce the result, or my next kick will crush his head," Wang Li said to the referee, calm but cold. The referee and commentator snapped awake as if roused from a dream and shouted, "Winner, Wang Li." Wang Li lowered his gaze, turned, and walked off the stage. Too weak, no fun, he thought. Still, 66 experience points. Fighting too long is boring. I don't want to drag it out. The transitional arc at Ligia Academy will be over soon. Chapter 45, Graduation. Please pursue studies month tickets. 1 year later, Ligia Academy. Wang Li opened his eyes, coming out of a cultivation session in the grove behind the school. He preferred the forest. It let him progress faster. He checked his spirit power and muttered to himself, 25th level spirit power. Only a 3-level breakthrough in a year. Slow, but not far from the 26th. Next year, I'll push through to the 30th and get the 3rd spirit ring from the dean. In truth, over the past year, he had gained more than 2,000 experience points from Great Spirit Arena matches. A spirit grandmaster needed a tremendous amount of experience to advance a level, but that was already enough for him to reach the 30th level. He wasn't avoiding a breakthrough because he lacked the power. He was avoiding it to test human nature, to see how Director Ling and Dean Gorfa would react. In the Spirit Master stage, a person could climb 5 levels in a year. As a Spirit Grandmaster, 8 levels in a year was possible. If he pushed too quickly and something went wrong, not only would he put himself at risk, but his relationship with Ling Lao and Dean Gorfa might be irrevocably damaged. They had already done so much for him. He didn't want to force them into a corner, especially since it would affect his chance at the 3rd spirit ring. He decided to wait another year, make up the difference, break to the 30th level, obtain the 3rd spirit ring through Dean Gorfa, and then apply for graduation as a spirit elder. In the meantime, he would keep accumulating experience in spirit battles, though those opportunities were becoming scarcer. As a spirit grandmaster, he already held a silver spirit battle badge. Very few spirit grandmasters had silver badges. Those were usually spirit elders. He'd started at iron. To reach bronze required 100 points, with normal wins worth +1 and losses -1. After 5 consecutive wins, each win counted as +10, and after 10 consecutive wins, each win gave +100. To go from bronze to silver needed 1,000 points. Wins gave +10, losses -10. Because of streak bonuses, a truly strong player could advance quickly, but in the last month or two, he hadn't even had a single match. His strength made contests too one-sided. He could leap 3 or 5 spirit power levels in combat. Defeating other spirit grandmasters was almost effortless. He could control, heal, match the physical strength of attack-type spirit masters, and move with the speed of agility attack types. Not long ago, a great spirit arena supervisor had tried to recruit him, but he'd refused. He hadn't graduated yet. After that, the arena stopped pushing too hard. His visits returned to normal. Wang Li rose, stretched, and let his surging spirit power settle. His stomach growled. "Every time I finish cultivating, I'm starving," he complained to himself. "The more my body consumes, the more nutrients I need. If I can't find another solution, I'll just have to find better food." With that problem in mind, he headed to the cafeteria. After polishing off 4 or 5 servings, a teacher intercepted him on his way out, not because he'd eaten so much, but because the dean wanted to see him. He didn't delay and went straight to the dean's study. The study was full of senior staff: Dean Gorfa, Director Ling of Internal Affairs, Director Yang of External Affairs, and several other academy executives. Gorfa's voice was low and grave as he addressed the room. "The results of this year's All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Competition are in. Spirit Hall took first, Douluo Royal Academy second, and Heaven Do Royal Academy third. That's a disgrace for our Heaven Do Empire's Spirit Master education. The 3 teachers from Heaven Do Royal Academy are making big plans. After this year's Heaven Do Royal team graduates, the 3 of them will form a new Heaven Do Royal team and begin preparations for the next All-Continent Advanced Soul Master competition 5 years from now." Murmurs and frowns spread through the room. Their representative team had been beaten by Spirit Hall and the Douluo Empire. Humiliating. Ligia Academy had produced many talents, but once students advanced to top academies, they tended to be middling at best. Cultivation relied on spirit, talent, and resources, unless Director Ling's expression changed. He looked toward Gorfa and asked cautiously, "Dean, do you mean send Wang Li to Heaven Do?" Gorfa nodded. "Wang Li's talent is exceptional, better than we expected. Our Ligia Intermediate Spirit Master Academy has taken him as far as it can. If he goes to Heaven Do Royal Academy, he'll get the resources he needs to grow quickly. With his ability, the Heaven Do Royal team is his next step. If he catches the attention of their 3 teachers, his development will be explosive. Given his age, he could participate in the next All-Continent Advanced Soul Master competition, maybe the one after that. He could make a name for himself on the continent." When Wang Li arrived and entered the room, he found himself facing a gathering of the Academy's leadership. He greeted them in turn, then Gorfa smiled and spoke. "Wang Li, are you familiar with the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master competition?" Gorfa explained the situation to him plainly. Wang Li's eyes widened with understanding. Dean, you want me to go to Heaven Do Royal Academy, aim for the Heaven Do Royal team, and take part in the next all-continent advanced Soul Master competition. Gorfa looked pleased at how quickly Wang Li grasped the plan. Exactly. With your talent, you've outgrown our academy. At Heaven Do, you'll find a more suitable environment and faster growth. I know, Wang Li replied. My spirit power test this semester already reached the 25th level. Only 2 years have passed since I arrived, and I've met the graduation goal you set for me. Gorfa nodded approvingly, then turned and took a finely crafted box from a shelf. It was lacquered and carved with elaborate patterns, inlaid with bright gems. This is your graduation gift, he said. Most students graduate at 18, but you're graduating at 9. You'll be the youngest graduate in Ligia Academy's history. Wang Li pursed his lips when he heard that. With the graduation gift already prepared, it was hard to refuse the graduation banquet. It differed somewhat from his original plan, but Heaven Do Royal Academy and the Heaven Do Royal team were part of his goals anyway. Since Dean Gorfa was so blunt, Wang Li answered more formally. Dean, I will definitely join the Heaven Do Royal team. I'll use results to prove that Ligia Academy students are no worse than your so-called geniuses. Gorfa liked what he heard and smiled, pleased. Good. Open it and see. You'll like this gift. Curious, Wang Li stepped forward and, under Gorfa's gaze, opened the box. Inside lay a pair of wrist guards. The main body was leather, turning to metal on the back, with a gemstone inlaid about the size of a pigeon's egg, pure white and warm to the touch. The overall colors were blue and white. The leather, metal, and gemstone were different materials but integrated so tightly they seemed one piece. Wang Li's eyes widened in delight. He hadn't handled many storage spirit tools, but the design looked much like Tong San's storage belt. Seeing Wang Li's surprise, Gorfa explained, "These are part of my old collection, storage wrist guards. Each has about 6 cubic meters of space, so together they offer 12 cubic meters. These aren't like the cheap storage rings and thumb rings some nobles use. Their materials are excellent and can withstand post-battle shock. Even Spirit King or Spirit Emperor level Spirit Masters, when their spirit is fused in combat, won't have to worry about breaking them. You can wear them confidently in battle." Gorfa took one wrist guard and slipped it onto Wang Li's wrist. "Pour in a wisp of spirit power." Wang Li did as instructed. The wrist guard adjusted automatically, fitting his wrist perfectly, neither loose nor tight, so comfortable and light he could barely feel it. Gorfa continued, "They conform to your wrist, so they won't interfere when you fight. As for use, you felt it when you poured in spirit power. Retrieving or storing items needs only a thought." Wang Li nodded, tried the other wrist guard, then placed his hand over the box that had held them, and, after injecting spirit power, thought of storing it. The box disappeared into the wrist guard. He released the wrist guard and retrieved the box with a thought, delighted, playing with it, his face alight. "Thank you, Dean. I really like it," he said sincerely. Gorfa smiled and patted his shoulder. "I'm glad you do. Since Heaven Do Royal Academy is outside Heaven Do City, the capital, our schedule is tight this trip. We leave in 2 days, so you won't have time to go home. You'll need to start preparing as soon as you disembark. When you arrive at Heaven Do Royal Academy, you'll be shocked. There are many aristocratic heirs of varying quality, but the teaching staff, cultivation environment, and training facilities are the most complete in the Heaven Do Empire. This time, you'll also meet the deans of intermediate Soul Master academies from the 5 directly governed provinces and their outstanding graduates. But I believe among all those top graduates, you'll stand out the most." Wang Li didn't care much about the pomp. His parents had long since died. The village chief and the other villagers treated him kindly, but he could wait to return until he was stronger and successful. Still, Gorfa's words had revealed something interesting. All the deans of intermediate Soul Master academies in the 5 directly governed provinces would recommend outstanding graduates to take the assessment at Heaven Do Royal Academy. Did academies in kingdoms and duchies not send graduates there, or did their graduates fail to go? There were contradictions, but Wang Li thought perhaps those regions had their own advanced Soul Master academies under royal control. Otherwise, the all-continent advanced Soul Master competition couldn't gather over 100 such academies. Confidently, he declared, "Even if my spirit is only a mutated blue-silver grass, that won't change my determination to become a great spirit master. I'll be the best. If someone's better than me now, I'll surpass them." Gorfa still showed some regret at Wang Li's spirit being a mutation of blue-silver grass and not fire attributed, but he laughed and clapped. "Well said. If you don't have the determination, you can't become great. Ling Lao, prepare Wang Li's file. We depart in 2 days." Although Wang Li had graduated early twice already, he had followed the orthodox route, Notting Junior Soul Master Academy, then Ligia Intermediate Soul Master Academy. His background and records were clear, a mutated spirit user who advanced rapidly. Ling Lao nodded with a smile. "Understood, Dean." He then looked at Wang Li, gentle and moved. He'd only enrolled this student 2 years earlier, and now he was graduating. 9 years old, 25th rank spirit power. He's Ligia Academy's youngest graduate and the highest spirit power at graduation. "I didn't misjudge him," Ling Lao said with pride. Wang Li felt deep gratitude toward Ling Lao, who had helped him so much. His heart stirred and he promised earnestly, "Ling Lao, Dean, I will come back to visit you both." Ling Lao's face brightened. The other teachers offered their words of encouragement as well. Though Ling Lao had been responsible for Wang Li's training and the dean had been busy hunting spirit beasts, none of them withheld praise for this outstanding graduate. Wang Li accepted it calmly and fluently. 2 days later, Wang Li packed his belongings, bid farewell to Wang Sheng, and walked out of the dormitory where he'd lived for 2 years under Wang Sheng's odd, conflicted gaze. Wang Sheng didn't know whether to be exasperated or moved. He had witnessed Wang Li's 2 early graduations, 1 year at Notting, 2 at Ligia, and was grateful. Wang Li had given him a 100-year spirit ring, which had guaranteed his current strength. Now that Wang Li was graduating early again, Wang Sheng could only wish him success on the path of a spirit master. Thanks to Yuan, for the 500 starting coin reward. Based on everyone's suggestions, I ultimately chose wristguard-style storage spirit tools. Rings and thumb rings always felt like they might interfere with combat. 47. Arrival Heaven. Du City sits in the middle of the Heaven Do Plains in Diao Province, while the Heaven Do Royal Academy is built outside the imperial capital, occupying an entire mountain range. On the journey there, Gorfa told Wang Li many things: the Tiando imperial family, the upper 3 sects, the nobility, but most of it was only a surface sketch. There were topics he wouldn't go into deeply. He spoke most about the Heaven Do Royal Academy. The current president of the academy is Emperor Shui Ye, though he does not handle daily affairs. Routine management falls to the deans. The 3 members of the Dean Committee are the Chief, known as Dream Machine, the Spirit Black Demon, a level 85 Spirit Douluo, Bai Baoshan, wielder of the Spirit Star Furnace, a level 84 Spirit Douluo, and Ji Lin, master of the Spirit Azure Vine, a level 82 Spirit Douluo. In the carriage, Gorfa looked at Wang Li earnestly. Of the 3 all-continent advanced Soul Master competitions held so far, the academies representing the Heaven Do Empire have finished without a single championship, he said. Even the Star Luo Empire has champions, but Heaven Do has none. Because of that humiliation, forming the Heaven Do Royal Team for the next all-continent advanced Soul Master competition is a major matter. All 3 deans are taking part. The resources and support available will be enormous. If you can gain the attention of these 3, or more precisely, win the favor of Spirit Douluo Ji Lin, his guidance could save you a lot of detours. Ji Lin is an Azure Vine spirit, a level 82 Spirit Douluo. In the current Spirit Master world, among plant-type Spirit Masters, very few are stronger than him. Wang Li nodded repeatedly, craving the opportunity, but inwardly he pondered how he could get the 3 deans to spar with him without being killed. That would be the greatest help. Of course, with their status and reputation, making such a bold request would require him to offer some clear value. They rode on, the carriage taking nearly 20 days to travel from Ligia City in Fasinuo Province to Heaven Do City in Diao Province. They did not enter the capital itself. Instead, they headed into the mountains outside the city. What looked like a desolate wilderness from below was actually the academy campus. The forests, lakes at the mountain's base, and the towering peaks visible beyond were all part of the Douluo Royal Academy. When they reached the foothill, a sharp-eyed staff member noticed the Legia Intermediate Soul Master Academy emblem on their carriage and hurried over to welcome them, leading them up to the main campus halfway up the mountain. They climbed white marble steps and emerged among an array of buildings carved into the mountainside. Wang Li sighed inwardly. Truly wealthy, he thought. The thousands he'd earned at the Legia Great Spirit Arena wouldn't even make a ripple here. On the Douluo Continent, the rich are truly rich and the poor truly poor. They were assigned to the villa area on the west side of the campus, 2 people per large villa, each with its own yard. After the staff member left, 2 middle-aged men strode up to their door. Both stood about 1.9 meters tall. One was lean, the other burly. The lean man smiled. "Gorfa, you're late this time," he teased. The burly man glanced at the boy beside Gorfa. "What's the deal with this kid? How did he graduate so young?" Gorfa introduced them. "This is Bai Rusong, Dean of Gert Academy, and Lu Haoran, Dean of Lei Academy." Wang Li immediately recognized the names. Bai Rusong, Spirit Wind Eagle, a level 56 War Spirit King. Lu Haoran, Spirit Violent Bear, a level 52 War Spirit King. He'd read their introductions before, and for his own reasons he had chosen Gorfa's Legia Academy. Gorfa laughed and greeted them. "There's still a day to go, so I'm not late. As for this kid, don't underestimate him. He's our Academy's outstanding graduate this year. A genius, you know." Gorfa really was a little late. He delayed departure while deciding whether to let Wang Li graduate early. Bai Rusong smiled. "Of the 35 intermediate Soul Master Academies, everyone who should have come has arrived. You're the only one arriving today. The 3 deans will be here in person tomorrow. If you show up late, you'll regret it." Lu Haoran's curiosity persisted. "I heard this year's graduates include quite a few at level 24 and 25. A graduate from Facino Intermediate reached level 25. How about this child? What level is he, and how old?" "There are 35 Intermediate Soul Master Academies, which means 35 deans at the Spirit King and Spirit Emperor levels. The Douluo Royal Academy itself only has about 50 teachers, fewer than 10 Spirit Emperors at the Douluo tier, fewer than 20 Spirit Kings at the Heaven G tier, and no more than 30 Spirit Ancestors at the Heaven Wei tier. It's no wonder the 3 deans were coming in person. They attach great importance to these Spirit King and Spirit Emperor deans and intend to win them over." Gorfa smiled, evasive. "I have a list in my head. As for this child's level and age, you'll find out tomorrow." Bai Rusong and Lu Haoran exchanged glances, more curious than before, but Gorfa wouldn't say more, and they could only leave it at that. As the 2 deans walked away, Gorfa turned back to Wang Li with a chuckle. "Level 24, level 25. Wang Li, with them as a foil, you'll shine all the more. Tomorrow when the 3 deans attend personally, you must put on a good show." Wang Li agreed. Through Gorfa, he'd already learned what tomorrow's assessment would be. No pressure. Under the watch of the 3 deans, combat spirit masters would fight, while support spirit masters provided assistance, battling against level 25 students of the Douluo Royal Academy. Winning or losing wasn't the point. What mattered was demonstrating one's own strengths. Over the past year, he had faced far too many spirit grandmasters. Those above level 25, levels 26, 27, 28, 29, had all fallen to him. The assessment would be easy. More importantly, it could put him squarely in the sight of the 3 deans. The next morning, Wang Li and Gorfa ate the breakfast the staff had left for them, rested for a while, and then set out. Returning to the main campus felt different today. The place was alive. When they had arrived yesterday, large parts of the academy had seemed empty. Douluo Royal Academy was vast, and its 500 or 600 students spent much of their time training in the simulated environments across and beneath the mountains. Outsiders rarely came, but today there were visitors. Wang Li scanned the crowd. Around 30 middle-aged men and women stood together. No doubt the deans of the Intermediate Soul Master Academies that had come to send their best graduates, and more than 50 young men and women who must be those graduates. The competition arena and spectator stands were already set up. Though the venue was outdoors, Everything looked spotless, as if the staff cleaned it every day. Gorfa led Wang Li to a quiet spot to wait for the three senior teachers. Not long after, they appeared, dressed not in their usual robes, but in formal black gowns trimmed with gold. This ceremonial attire was reserved for Spirit Douluo and showed how highly they regarded today's assessment. Behind them followed a number of other teachers and students from Heaven Do Royal Academy who would serve as referees and opponents. The three teachers took the chairman's platform. One of them stepped forward, a very tall, elderly man whose aura was overwhelmingly powerful. Even among the three, he was the most imposing, yet his face wore a smile as he addressed the gathered deans. "Thank you for sending your academy's finest graduates to our school. There's no need to explain the assessment methods and rules. Prepare for the assessment. Please wait a moment. Our teachers will collect the student files now." Gorfa quietly told Wang Li, "That's Meng Shenji, chairman of the teacher committee. The plumper one on the left is Bai Baoshan, vice chairman, and the thin one on the right is Shi Lin, third chairman." By the time Gorfa finished, the academy teachers were already handing over their files. One of them looked at Wang Li with visible shock. The graduation requirement for an intermediate Soul Master Academy was to reach 20 spirit power by age 18 and then hunt a spirit beast to obtain a spirit ring and become a spirit grandmaster. Wang Li's face was still round and boyish. He looked no older than 11 or 12 at most. In truth, he was only 9. The teacher composed himself quickly. Here, in front of Meng Shenji, Bai Baoshan, and Ji Lin, 3 spirit Douluo, no trick would pass. Once a student stepped on stage, it would be up to them. The files were passed to Meng Shenji. He took the top one, opened it, and began the assessment by calling names at random. Xueling Intermediate Soul Master Academy, Aishi, step forward. That was how the assessments worked. Students were called to the stage at random. Winning or losing mattered less than showing something distinctive. If the 3 teachers took notice, the student passed. Each match usually lasted 3 to 5 minutes, enough time to judge a spirit master's potential. An hour later, Meng Shenji opened the next file. His pupils narrowed as he read. He could barely believe what he saw. Lijia Intermediate Soul Master Academy, Wang Li, 9 years old, mutated blue-silver grass, 25th spirit power. He cleared his throat and kept his voice steady. Lijia Intermediate Soul Master Academy, Wang Li, step forward. Wang Li sprang to his feet the moment he heard his name and leaped onto the arena. His young face caused a stir among the crowd. He did not look like a graduate of an intermediate academy. His opponent, meanwhile, strode out, a young man of about 20 in a goose-yellow school uniform, expression arrogant, likely a noble. The referee gave the command. "Prepare yourselves. Summon your spirits." The noble's spirit fused with him, turning him into a white wolf. 2 200-year spirit rings hovered around him. Wang Li's blue-silver grass spirit swirled about him, and 2 200-year spirit rings floated there as well. With a sneer, the noble went first. His first soul skill, White Wolf's attack, shot out white energy projectiles. Wang Li dodged easily with instant step. Then his blue-silver grass, energized by his first soul skill, surged forward to bind the noble. The noble, an attack-type spirit master, wasn't particularly fast. Unable to escape, he activated his second soul skill, White Wolf's protection, forming a white shield. The blue-silver grass held him fast. His claws couldn't cut through it. He had to burn a great deal of spirit power, spamming his first soul skill until, after a furious effort, he blasted a hole through the binding and charged at Wang Li. Wang Li bent his eyes on the shield still around the noble and stepped back into explosive feet. The boost in speed and power let him close the distance. He struck the shield with a powerful kick, shattering it, then followed through with a kick to the noble's chest. There was the sickening sound of breaking bones. The noble howled and flew backward. Wang Li landed and began to walk toward him, but a nearby teacher hurried forward and shouted, "Stop! You've won! No more fighting!" Wang Li looked genuinely surprised. "Teacher, you misunderstand. I only wanted to help him with his injuries." The teacher blinked, then watched as Wang Li crouched beside the prostrate noble, placed his hand above the young man's chest, and used his second soul skill, Revival. His spirit power flowed out as life force into the noble's body. In less than 10 seconds, the noble's color returned. His breathing steadied. Internally and externally, he was basically healed. Wang Li withdrew his hand and stood. Before anyone else could react, Jilin had leaped down from the chairman's platform and come to his side. He reached out, pinched and examined Wang Li once over, then turned to Meng Shenji and Bai Baoshan. I recommend this child be admitted to the Heaven Do Royal Battle Team trainee camp. Meng Shenji and Bai Baoshan exchanged a look and replied without hesitation. Agreed. I agree as well. The Heaven Do Royal Battle Team trainee camp was no ordinary class division. It was a special training group the three teachers had created to prepare for the next all-continent Advanced Soul Master competition. It took the most outstanding students under 20 who already had 25th spirit power or higher. Among them were spirit grandmasters with 28th and 29th spirit power, and even spirit elders with 31st and 32nd spirit power. At that moment, the camp had only about 20 people. Over the next year or two, through selection and elimination, one main team and one backup team would be formed. The main team would receive abundant resources and support and become the Academy's primary force for the next all-continent competition. On the platform, the three spirit Douluo looked at Wang Li with interest. For everyone else, the assessment had been routine. For Wang Li, it had just opened a door. Chapter 49, Qinming. The assessment was over, and Wang Li had clearly become the focus of attention. Dean Gorfa of Ligia Academy was summoned to meet the three teachers from Heaven Do Royal Academy, Meng Shenji, Bai Baoshan, and Ji Lin. The three greeted him with warm smiles, their earlier imposing airs gone. They spoke like old acquaintances. Dean Gorfa, your academy has given us a wonderful surprise this year, Meng Shenji said with a light laugh. This boy is exceptional in every way. Our academy will definitely take good care of his training. We must strengthen academic exchanges in the future, Bai Baoshan added. Please send us more talents like him. Gorfa, who was a spirit king in Facino province and locally well-respected, was both surprised and thrilled. Facing three spirit Douluo-level masters who were also the teachers of Heaven Do Royal Academy made him feel a little overwhelmed, though he kept his composure. Absolutely, he replied. Wang Li only trained at our academy for 2 years and has already come so far. I can't bear to let him waste the next 4 years in an intermediate Soul Master Academy. He's yours. As soon as those words left his mouth, Meng Shenji, Bai Baoshan, and Ji Lin exchanged impressed looks. Wang Li's file had been reviewed in detail. The Spirit Hall certificate with Su Yuntao's signature, records from Notting Junior Soul Master Academy with Zhang Wei's signature, and Lijia's paperwork signed by Gorfa himself. Everything pointed to a genuine genius with a mutated spirit and an unusually rapid rate of cultivation. Ji Lin had personally inspected Wang Li. The plant-type scent of his spirit was fresh and genuine. His bones and blood were solid as an ox's, showing no sign of foul cultivation. His first soul ability was control, his second healing. Wang Li also had respectable combat skills. Aside from the striking fact that his spirit was blue-silver grass, there was nothing objectionable. Ji Lin smiled and said, Dean Gorfa, be at ease. I like this boy. I'll keep an eye on his cultivation and offer guidance when I can. Talents like him will surely become pillars of the Heaven Do Empire. Hearing that, Gorfa breathed a full, relieved sigh. Every teacher of plant-type spirit masters envied a student who could be placed under Ji Lin's care. If Ji Lin guided Wang Li, his future would be boundless, and Gorfa's academy would earn prestige from the boy's success. He thanked the three teachers sincerely, offered Wang Li some words of encouragement, and departed. As dean, he had other graduates to check on. After Gorfa left, Meng Shenji turned to Wang Li. Wang Li, welcome to Heaven Do Royal Academy. The smile didn't remove the pressure Wang Li felt. The gap in spirit power, 60 levels, was enormous, and he bowed respectfully. Thank you, teacher. Meng glanced at Ji Lin. Ji Lin, you recommended this child. Take him to Qinming. Bai Baoshan and I will look after the other new students. There are some promising candidates among them. Ji Lin nodded. No problem. Qinming is a remarkable instructor. Even students we recommend must pass his assessment before he'll accept them. I think this boy will leave him speechless. Bai Baoshan shook his head, smiling. What can you do? Geniuses are always a little headstrong. Qinming's only 30 and already a high-level spirit king. If he breaks through to 60-level spirit power in a year or two, he'll rank among the continent's best. He even has the potential to become a titled Douluo. He glanced at Wang Li and continued, Qinming has a mutated spirit, the blazing firewolf. This child has a mutated blue-silver grass. Maybe the two of them together will bring us more surprises. Meng agreed. Both are geniuses with mutated spirits. They might have a lot in common. Jilin smiled at Wang Li. Follow me. I'll take you to meet your future teacher. Wang Li answered obediently, Okay, teacher. He knew where they were heading, the Heaven Do Royal Battle Team trainee camp, the place where the academy selected and trained its royal team. His future teacher was Qinming. Qinming's talent and strength were unquestioned, but Wang Li wondered about his methods. Would they involve tough, relentless training? As they made their way toward the back mountain of the academy, Jilin's expression softened with a hint of regret. He had considered taking Wang Li not just as an apprentice, but as a closed-door disciple. Wang Li's talent was promising, but Jilin hesitated because of the nature of the blue-silver grass spirit. Mutated spirits can gift rapid cultivation, but true long-term potential varies. The difference between an ordinary spirit and a top-tier one becomes striking as spirit power and spirit rings increase. Two users with the same level might still be worlds apart if one's spirit has greater inherent potential. Jilin wanted to observe Wang Li longer before making such a grave commitment. If the boy truly proved himself, taking him as a closed-door disciple would be easy later. What Jilin didn't know was that some opportunities, once missed, never return. They reached a large, well-kept training ground behind the mountain. Just as they arrived, a handsome teacher, somewhere between youth and middle age, hurried over to meet them. It was Qinming. 50 courses, seeking further studies. Qinming was very polite. He bowed respectfully, then said stubbornly, Teacher, I still insist. If another noble house or power wants to send a junior here, they must pass my assessment before I accept them. Jilin smiled helplessly, stroked his beard, and said gently, Don't worry, Qinming. This time it's truly a genius. He isn't a junior sent by any noble house or power. Wang Li, come out and introduce yourself. At Jilin's words, Wang Li stepped out from behind him and spoke calmly and confidently. Hello, Teacher Qin. My name is Wang Li. I'm from Lija Intermediate Soulmaster Academy. I'm 9 years old. My spirit is mutated blue-silver grass, and my spirit power is at the 25th rank. Qinming's eyes widened in disbelief. Someone that young with that level of spirit power, if he went to Shrek Academy, Dean Flender and the other teachers would be thrilled. Jilin was clearly pleased by Qinming's reaction and teased, Well? Qinming nodded and looked at Wang Li. I'll accept you. One thing, Wang Li, I'm very strict with my students. Be mentally prepared. If you back down or refuse to be taught, no matter how talented you are, I will expel you. Wang Li smiled faintly at the stern teacher and replied, I understand, teacher. I've trained up to now. There's no hardship I can't bear. Qinming thought for a moment and agreed. To have that much spirit power at such an age, talent alone wouldn't be enough. He had to be diligent. Qinming's expression softened, and he truly accepted Wang Li into the class. Seeing the two get along, Jilin nodded and said, All right, Wang Li, you'll study in Teacher Qin's class from now on. Qinming, arrange his accommodation and answer his questions. I'll be off. Goodbye, teacher. Take care, teacher, both boys said in unison. After Jilin left, Qinming turned to Wang Li. Come with me. I'll arrange your accommodation first, then explain the situation here. They walked together as Qinming began to explain. This large campus area in the back mountain has been assigned to our Heaven Do Royal Battle Team trainee camp by the 3 teachers. I'll get your accommodation settled and finish the registration. Staff will deliver your 3 meals a day to your door. You won't need to do chores. The academy won't let chores interfere with cultivation. You can normally order meals, but not in my class. Your diet will be arranged by me. Wang Li cut in. Teacher, I have a huge appetite. Back at the academy, I could eat as much as 4 or 5 people. Qinming made a note and glanced at him. Don't worry, the academy won't let you starve. It will relieve you of all such worries. You only need to cultivate. It's too late to show you around today. Morning classes are over, The afternoon is for cultivation in the simulated environments. Tomorrow morning, I'll introduce you to everyone and we'll officially begin classes. My courses start with physical training. When your body reaches its limit in physical training, then you'll engage in combat with other students. In real battle, enemies won't leave you alone when you're at your peak. So fighting under extreme conditions is the most important part of training. Wang Li thought Qinming's methods were unorthodox, but effective for uncovering potential under pressure. Still, he wasn't particularly concerned about physical endurance. His mutated blue silvergrass spirit leaned toward recovery. Pushing his limits through physical training wouldn't be easy. His rate of consumption might not even outpace recovery unless he forced it beyond a rhythm he could control. Qinming continued, nonetheless. The afternoon is for self-cultivation. As a plant spirit, your simulated cultivation environment will be among the easiest to access. Heaven Do Royal Academy is built in the mountains. You can find the place that best activates your spirit and spirit power. These are the current courses. You should also understand what this place is like. In the next year or two, unqualified students will be eliminated. The survivors will form the Heaven Do Royal Team's first and second squads. Once your teams form, I'll take you into real battles. There will be new requirements then, so don't think you can rest. Constant improvement is the only way to survive. Wang Li had his own reasons for coming, but he didn't need to say them. All right, teacher, I believe I can persevere. Qinming nodded inwardly. At this age, and with that spirit power, his warnings were only half threatened. If necessary, Qin would apply firmer measures to push the boy. They reached the dormitory area. Because there were so many houses and Qinming worried Wang Li might not adapt to others immediately, he assigned him a separate villa. A villa with a small courtyard usually housed 4 people. For now, Wang Li would have it to himself until new members arrived. After the registration was completed, staff soon delivered 6 sets of uniforms, 2 ornate sets with robes and capes, clearly for formal occasions, and 4 simpler sets for daily wear. Wang Li looked at the uniforms in amazement. As expected from a royal academy supported by the Tiando imperial family, even the uniforms come in 6 sets, and 2 are for formal wear. Emperor Shuiye was the dean of Heaven Do Royal Academy. He wouldn't personally come, would he? Why else prepare formal attire? Not long after, the staff brought food. Having had only breakfast, Wang Li was already starving. When he opened the boxes, there was indeed enough food for 4 or 5 people. He ate heartily while his mind turned over what tomorrow's meeting would bring. The next day, when Wang Li woke and stepped out onto the second-floor hallway, he saw Qinming already waiting in the living room below. Qinming sat on the sofa with several food boxes spread before him. When he noticed Wang Li, he gave a small, satisfied nod. At least the boy hadn't overslept, and said, "Go wash up first, then come eat. After that, I'll take you to meet the others." "Okay, teacher," Wang Li replied. He had already put on the Heaven Do Royal Academy uniform. The goose-yellow outfit, simple for daily wear, still looked expensive and suited him well. After washing up, his shoulder-length hair was styled into a deliberately messy look. Wang Li's features were sharp, thick brows, big eyes. He didn't have a noble's refined bearing, but he carried a confident, forward-leaning air born of experience. Even in this life, born the son of a farmer, putting down his hoe, awakening his spirit, then progressing through Notting Junior Spirit Master Academy and Liegia Intermediate Spirit Master Academy to arrive at Heaven Do Royal Advanced Soul Master Academy, he had fought his way up. It was a kind of comeback, and he wore it without awkwardness. Though he'd left the fields behind, he moved with calm assurance in these fine clothes. On the first floor, before they ate, Wang Li asked politely, "Teacher, have you eaten yet?" Qinming's face was composed, but his voice softened. "I've eaten. You should eat quickly." Wang Li opened the boxes. Steak, milk, bread, eggs, vegetables, fruit, enough to cover a large table. He ate, taking care to chew properly. Qinming watched quietly. Only after Wang Li finished did the teacher speak again. "Don't sit or exercise immediately after a meal. Walk with me first, then start training." As they walked, Wang Li asked, "Okay, teacher, how will the training be conducted?" "Running," Qinming said. Wang Li's expression registered surprise, but they were already on their way. By dawn, on the academy playground, Qin Ming stood with his eyes closed, resting. Wang Li stood beside him, bored, gazing up at the brightening sky and counting the time in his head. A minute earlier, it had been just the two of them. A minute later, students poured in from all directions. About 20-something of them gathered, none under 15, the youngest 16 or 17, the oldest 18 or 19. They looked at Qin Ming with a bit of reverence, at Wang Li with curiosity. He was too young. Though he'd grown rapidly in height and build, his boyish face read very young. Qin Ming opened his eyes exactly at 9 o'clock. Punctuality was part of his prestige. Heaven Dao Royal Academy was a noble institution. Those who attended were usually noble children, offspring of influential houses, or disciples from major sects, unless someone had powerful backers, such as a dean at Spirit King level, or even Spirit Emperor level, to recommend them. That structure bred talent, but also a certain indolence in many students. But the Heaven Dao Royal Battle Team Trainee Camp, established less than a month ago with the backing of 3 instructors, answered to a strict standard, and Qin Ming, the teacher most likely to become a heaven-level mentor for the academy in the future, was known for his strictness. He intended to shape these students into the team he envisioned for the next all-continent Advanced Soul Master competition. His expression stern now, Qin Ming wanted them to understand there were always people better than you and a higher peak to chase. He glanced at Wang Li and announced, "This student beside me is a new member of our Heaven Dao Royal Battle Team Trainee Camp, Wang Li. Come forward and introduce yourself." Wang Li stepped out without hesitation. "My name is Wang Li. My spirit is mutated blue silver grass. My spirit power is level 25. I am a 2-ring control-type battle spirit master." A stunned silence fell. None of the students present had spirit power lower than level 25, but mutated blue silver grass? Even a mutated blue silver grass was hardly what they expected at this level. Murmurs rippled through the group. Qin Ming's eyes flashed with approval. He was already seeing the effect he'd hoped for. He delivered another blow. You might be wondering about his age. I'll be clear, he is only 9 years old. Gasps and incredulous looks spread through the students. Qin Ming continued coolly. Superior talent is a prerequisite to becoming a powerhouse, but talent without diligence is wasted. This child has both, extraordinary talent and a relentless work ethic. Who among you can claim they had level 25 spirit power at 9 years old? What I fear most is watching you get overtaken, one, by a 9-year-old. If that happens, you'll be left behind. Those who had been indifferent suddenly tensed. To be surpassed by a 9-year-old, humiliation was a real fear. Qin Ming was satisfied. Wang Li's presence would stoke their competitive drive. Wang Li returned to the team. He turned to the students. Now we'll begin today's training. Run 20 laps around the campus. No use of spirit power. Warm up first, then proceed to combat drills. 20 laps around the campus, not the playground, but the entire mountain-ringed campus. Heaven Dao Royal Academy was built across a range. 20 laps meant circling the mountain range 20 times. A collective wail erupted. Qin Ming's training was notorious for being severe, and everyone present felt the full weight of it. "Begin," Teacher Qin shouted. A tall youth shot forward at once. He wasn't handsome. His face was almost expressionless like a poker face, but his whole body gave off a dangerous aura even without spirit power. His name was Yu Tianheng, and he came from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan, home of the world's top attack-type beast spirit. With that kind of spirit behind him, Yu Tianheng demanded to be first and hated being second. Wang Li's arrival had put him on edge. Yu Tianheng was a level 32 spirit elder. When he was 9, he hadn't been a level 25 spirit grandmaster like Wang Li was, but the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon spirit filled him with relentless confidence. Once his spirit power rose, he believed he could sweep everyone aside. Aside from Yu Tianheng leading out, most of the others didn't want to stand out. They had to run 20 laps. It had just started. What was the hurry? Wang Li drifted among them, watching with interest. He wanted to see who among them might become the 7 members of the future Heaven Dao Royal team. Lap after lap, 1, 2, 3, they kept going. For these students, it wasn't difficult. Without using spirit abilities, they could manage it easily. But fundamentally, a spirit master's body was still like a mortal's. stronger, faster, with greater endurance, but not limitless. As the laps climbed past 10, even the spirit grandmasters and spirit elders were sweating and breathing hard. If they'd used spirit power, they could have kept going. 20 laps would have been nothing, but these were spoiled children, aristocratic scions raised in comfort. They weren't used to pain. Yet this was Teacher Chin's class. Teacher Chin was a legend, only 30 years old, already a high-level spirit king and on the verge of breaking through to spirit emperor. He was notoriously strict, and when he said he'd punish you, he meant it. That terrified them into enduring the hardship. Wang Li, however, walked and ran with even, steady pace. He didn't use instant step. Instant step consumed spirit power, but even ordinary running his talent showed, a recovery ability far beyond normal, keeping his body always at peak function. A purple-haired, green-eyed girl soon noticed his calm. She was a level 31 spirit elder. At the moment, she was worse off than the spirit grandmasters around her. Sweat beaded on her smooth brow, her breathing had gone ragged and uneven. Seeing Wang Li so relaxed, with the added shock that he was a 9-year-old with level 25 spirit grandmaster power, made her curious. She sped up to catch him, eyes bright, and called with a teasing smile. "Little junior brother, your stamina's pretty good. You've run 14 laps and you're still so calm." Wang Li had already noticed her. Her short purple hair was neat and her green eyes striking. She wasn't conventionally beautiful, but she had a distinct charm. She fell into step beside him. Wang Li smiled faintly. "Senior sister," he said, "my talent isn't great, so I work a lot on physical training." Then, quietly, he added helpful instructions. "Your breathing's out of rhythm. That wastes energy. If you want to conserve strength, try mine. 3 steps in, 3 steps out. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Don't hold your abdomen. Let it expand and help with the breathing." At first, she was speechless. This boy called his own talent bad when he had level 25 spirit grandmaster power? But then he showed such earnestness in teaching her breathing that she couldn't help laughing. Wang Li put on a serious face. "Senior sister, why are you laughing?" She covered her mouth, laughing until she could speak. "I'm laughing because, junior brother, you're a very good person." Wang Li shrugged helplessly. "With your current pace, you'll be using even more energy. It'll be much harder to finish the remaining laps." She watched him, this 9-year-old who talked like an adult, and after a moment asked, frowning in thought, "Then what should I do?" He made a solemn decision. "It seems I'm the only one who can keep running with you." He sped up, slipped ahead, and ran just in front of her. Following him, she felt the pressure drain away. Her steps lightened. She glanced at his back with surprise, thinking, this junior brother is oddly reliable. Her name was Duguyan. With a Belin snake spirit and a terrifying poison attribute, people had avoided her since childhood. No one dared get too close. Today, she had intended to tease Wang Li, but he was more interesting than she'd expected. She followed and chuckled. "You're Wang Li, right? Don't call me senior sister. My name's Dugu Yan. Grandpa calls me Yan Yan, or Yaner." Wang Li's eyes twinkled. He tried to be playful. "Yan Yan," she pretended to be affronted. "Ad Jie," she snapped. He obliged. "Yan Yan Jie." Her mock anger disappeared into a broad smile. "Good. From now on, Yan Yan Jie will look out for you. If anyone bullies you, tell me." Wang Li couldn't hide his amusement. "Thanks, Yan Yan Jie." When the 20 laps were done, some students fell to the ground, panting and sweating. Teacher Chin pulled them up, ordering them to keep moving, no lying down, no sitting, until Wang Li and Dugu Yan returned. Wang Li looked unfazed. Dugu Yan, though tired, felt far more rested than she normally would. Teacher Chin frowned, puzzled, then barked sharply. "Wang Li, run 5 more laps." Wang Li blinked in surprise, but didn't hesitate. "Okay, teacher," he answered and ran off again. Teacher Chin's surprise deepened. He hadn't expected Wang Li to accept so calmly. Dugu Yan, seeing him go, protested. "Teacher Chin, he already ran 20 laps. Why more?" Teacher Chin's expression remained cold. "Didn't you notice? Wang Li hasn't reached his limit. If physical training doesn't push your stamina to the brink, it's meaningless." Dugu Yan wanted to argue, but Wang Li had already gone. She stamped her foot in irritation and muttered under her breath, "Idiot." For Wang Li, running wasn't a strain at all. He hadn't argued because Qin Ming was from the Shrek Hall and had been trained by Flender. If Wang Li refused, Qinming would scold him and make him run even more. Besides, running was easier than listening to a lecture full of lofty principles. He had come to Heavenly Do Royal Academy for Duyan and Dugu Bo. Everything else was trivial. 1 lap, 2 laps, 3 laps, 4 laps, 5 laps. When Wang Li finished 5 laps and returned to the field, he still looked relaxed. Apart from a light sheen of sweat, he wasn't breathless or disheveled. Qinming, who had been watching him closely, was more puzzled than ever. He had planned for Wang Li to run 20 laps first, then another 5 to push him, yet Wang Li hadn't been driven to his limit. Qinming admitted he had underestimated the boy. To possess 25th level spirit power at 9 years old meant Wang Li couldn't be judged by normal standards. But if Wang Li's limit wasn't forced out, subsequent training would be difficult. Qinming thought it over. He didn't want to keep everyone waiting with endless running, so he decided to give Wang Li an opponent he absolutely couldn't defeat to draw out his true limits. All right, Wang Li, come back for now. Warm your body. Don't sit or lie down. Today is your first day of class, and your first combat opponent will be Yu Tianheng. Wang Li was surprised. He hadn't expected such a difficult opponent on his first day, but he also wanted to see a genuine Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Spirit in action, so he nodded. Teacher, understood. The other students smirked. Yu Tianheng was their undisputed number 1. His domineering lightning beast spirit intimidated people before the fight even began. Only Du Guyan moved to speak up for Wang Li. She thought it was unfair. Teacher, Wang Li just finished 25 laps and he's only a spirit grandmaster. Yu Tianheng is already a spirit elder. This isn't comparable. Qinming was a little surprised that Du Guyan, normally reserved and aloof, kept defending Wang Li, who had only been at the academy a day. He explained gravely, if you leave the academy and a powerful expert many realms above you comes to kill you, will running away solve the problem? Actual combat is the ultimate standard for judging strength. You're fortunate to be able to fight powerful opponents and powerful spirits here. Those experiences will benefit you for life. Du Guyan felt uncomfortable but could not press further. Her impression of Wang Li had already shifted from interesting to pitiful, and she couldn't tell if she was the one forming a deeper attachment. Yu Tianheng himself stepped forward then, forcing a smile on his stiff features. It's just a spar. I'll go easy. Yanzi, I wouldn't be that harsh on a junior who's only a spirit grandmaster, would I? Arguments aside, the spar began. Qinming and the other students moved back to the edges of the training ground. Only Yu Tianheng and Wang Li remained in the center. When both were in position, Qinming shouted, "Prepare yourselves. Summon your spirits." Wang Li's summon was modest. Blue-silver grass erupted around him, and 2 yellow spirit rings rose and hovered. Yu Tianheng's summoning was explosive. His body crackled with power, muscles bulging, hair standing on end, as blue-purple lightning danced around him. Then his right sleeve split open, and his right arm swelled 1 or 2 sizes larger, clawed and draconic. This was the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Spirit manifesting. At level 30, after gaining the 3rd spirit ring, part of the host's body could undergo draconic transformation. The 3 spirit rings, yellow, yellow, and purple, ringed his right arm, making him look terrifyingly dominant. After his spirit possession completed, Yu Tianheng shouted, "Wang Li, be careful. My Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Spirit is the premier offensive beast spirit in the world, and I am a 32nd level attack-type spirit elder." Then he charged. As an attack-type spirit master facing a control-type spirit master, Yu Tianheng naturally took the initiative, but he didn't immediately unleash a spirit ability. He was holding back, as he claimed. Wang Li's eyes sharpened. Yu Tianheng's method seemed straightforward. Rely on overwhelming spirit power and brute strength to crash through defenses. But the streaks of blue-purple lightning worried Wang Li. Lightning, like fire, was particularly dangerous to plant-type spirits. It had a suppressive effect on living things in general. Today, I'll see just how difficult a Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Spirit Master is to fight, Wang Li resolved. Only real combat could teach him the countermeasures. Wang Li used his first spirit ability. The blue-silver grass burst upward and thick vines shot out, divided into 3 groups, 1 sweeping, 1 poised to strike, 1 rotating defensively. Yu Tianheng sneered at the sweeping grass and swung his right arm in a punch. Blue-purple lightning surged, instantly charring the blue-silver grass where it struck. That's all? He thought so, until the grass attacked again and momentarily stunned him. He swung another punch, crackling with abundant lightning, and each volley shattered the approaching vines, once, twice, 3 times. Yet the blue-silver grass seemed endless. The prolonged entanglement began to drain Yu Tianheng's spirit power faster. It was becoming a war of attrition he didn't want. Irritated, electric light flashing in his eyes, he roared, "First spirit ability, Thunder Dragon Claw." Violent lightning condensed around his right arm. He held the storm in reserve until the blue-silver grass came at him again. Then he unleashed it with a ferocious swing. Boom, boom. The lightning exploded outward in blinding blue-purple arcs. When the flashes faded, not a single strand of blue-silver grass remained within 7 or 8 meters in front of Yu Tianheng. 54. Partiality, seeking for further reading. Within Yu Tianheng's sight, Wang Li's figure suddenly loomed larger and delivered a kick straight to his chest. Yu Tianheng was stunned for a split second. Wasn't Wang Li a control system spirit master? Why was he attacking? He reacted quickly, using his strong right arm to block, but he had underestimated the force behind Wang Li's leg. Bang! The kick sent Yu Tianheng flying back 3 meters before he managed to steady himself. No matter how unbelievable it was, he now had to face Wang Li's strength head-on. Wang Li flipped through the air and landed lightly. Explosive feat. He murmured it under his breath, then darted forward again like lightning. He favored his legs. Arms couldn't match the torque of a thigh. Legs were simply more powerful. Rushing in, he brought down another downward kick that buckled Yu Tianheng's knees and dropped his body half a foot. That was all he allowed, though. Before Yu Tianheng could react, Wang Li had already retreated, leaving him unable to grab hold of the boy. Wang Li's physicality was exceptional. For most spirit masters, their bodies were tempered when they absorbed a spirit ring, but for Wang Li, each increase in spirit ring age further tempered his body. On top of that, his toughness, passive amplified each tempering by 120%. With that continuous accumulation, this was the Wang Li standing before them. Yet despite his durability, he avoided prolonged close combat with Yu Tianheng. Having electricity and lightning coursing through one's body was not pleasant. He attacked the enemy's weakness with his strength. Speed and power together made his strikes far more effective than each alone. Wang Li's difficulty level for Yu Tianheng far exceeded what the latter had expected. Someone from a plant system should have been beaten outright. Yu Tianheng ground his teeth, fury flaring in his eyes. He couldn't stand being forced like this. How could the pride of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan lose to a blue-silver grass? He tried to use Thunder Dragon Claw again, but his eyes swept the arena. Wang Li's speed made it impossible to charge and aim. Reluctantly, he accepted reality. Second soul skill, Thunderous Roar. A huge drain of spirit power accompanied the chant. Terrifying lightning and electricity gathered around Yu Tianheng's body until it was almost blinding, blue-purple arcs crawling over him. Then, at his command, the lightning shot out like thunder arrows into the space before him. Wang Li was startled. Still in midair, he forced Explosive Feet to change his attack trajectory. When his spirit power was adequate, Explosive Feet could grant brief midair suspension and directional change. His hands clasped, and a mass of blue-silver grass burst up in the wind, forming a dense net that took the brunt of the attack. Crack! Rumble! The blue-silver grass shredded under the lightning. Fragments fell, turned to ash, and vanished. When the air cleared, all the lightning and the grass were gone. Wang Li activated Explosive Feet again, darted to Yu Tianheng, whose breath came ragged from the spirit power expenditure, and with a single kick sent him back over 5 meters. That was the advantage of the blue-silver grass spirit. Its attacks consumed very little spirit power. Yu Tianheng's Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Spirit, his Thunder Dragon Claw, and the second soul skill Thunderous Roar, each was terrifyingly powerful and exceedingly draining. If they didn't land, they only served to waste spirit power. Right now, Wang Li was effectively an attack system spirit master with agility and control capabilities, and even some healing tricks. His overall combat effectiveness was impressive. Qinming's eyelids twitched. He had expected Yu Tianheng to push Wang Li to his limit, but it looked like Wang Li was pushing Yu Tianheng instead. The other students gaped. Only Du Guyan felt relieved. Go, Wang Li. Beat Yu Tianheng. Yu Tianheng was furious, eyes wide and incandescent. He would not accept defeat. Third spirit ability, Wrath of Thunder, he roared. Second soul skill, Thunderous Roar. His purple spirit ring burned as terrifying energy concentrated around him. Wrath of Thunder doubled his thunder power. In that state, when he cast Thunderous Roar, his entire body was wrapped in dense, unending blue-purple lightning. Boom! Bang! Like an explosion with Yu Tianheng at the center, the area within 15 to 20 meters was flooded with lightning. Wang Li had been too close. He tried to escape but couldn't get completely clear and was caught in the lightning's net. The electricity entering his body was within his damage tolerance, but its strong paralyzing effect left him stiff and immobile. Two figures rushed into the arena. Qin Ming intercepted Yu Tianheng. This was supposed to be a sparring match. Qin Ming, a spirit elder, stepping in against a spirit grandmaster who had just used a 1,000-year spirit ability, could change the nature of the encounter. The other was Du Guyan. She knelt beside the fallen Wang Li, furious and scathing. A spirit elder bullying a spirit grandmaster, and he even used a 1,000-year spirit ability. He said he wouldn't go easy on his junior. How shameless, she snapped. Yu Tianheng looked wronged. His face went dark. When Wang Li struck him, Du Guyan had cheered. When he struck Wang Li, she turned sarcastic. He opened his mouth to explain. No, Yanzi. Du Guyan's brows shot up. She turned her head. Are we close? Call me Du Guyan, she snapped. The paralysis on Wang Li slowly eased. He glanced from Du Guyan to Yu Tianheng and felt a pang of pity. This is obvious favoritism, he thought. When she favors you, right is right and wrong is right. When she doesn't, wrong is wrong and not wrong is also wrong. Want to reason? Even with 10 mouths, you couldn't make it make sense. Wang Li rose on his own and then smiled. Sister Yan, don't blame Senior. This is real combat. There's no point if you don't use your full strength. Besides, I'm fine. Du Guyan poked Wang Li's forehead with an annoyed but slightly indulgent index finger. Oh, you're naive. Well, you're only 9 years old. When the teacher told you to run 5 more laps, you ran 5 more laps. When the teacher told you to fight Yu Tianheng, you went. He's a spirit elder, one major realm higher than you, and he used a 1,000-year spirit ring, and you're still defending him. Compared to Wang Li, Du Guyan suddenly found Yu Tianheng distasteful. They hadn't known each other long. They could just cut ties. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan. Did Du Guyan need to cling to that connection? The sparring match settled. The crowd's murmurs died down. Wang Li stood there, brushing off dust and smiling toward Du Guyan, while Yu Tianheng, breathing hard, chewed up by humiliation, found himself pondering how to reclaim his pride. 55, level 26, seeking further study. Qin Ming didn't quite know how to advise Wang Li. As a blue silver grass spirit master, Wang Li had been holding his own against a blue lightning tyrant dragon spirit master until Yu Tianheng, a spirit elder, unleashed his third spirit skill. Only then, under a storm of rapid, numerous lightning strikes, did Wang Li, who was only a spirit grandmaster, finally get overwhelmed. As his teacher, Qin Ming felt he had no right to scold the boy for that. At the same time, the fight had revealed a lot about Wang Li. Wang Li's command of his spirit and spirit abilities was exceptional. He manipulated every strand of blue-silver grass like extra limbs, fluid, precise, and astonishingly flexible. If he had been facing a non-elemental beast spirit, the opponent might have exhausted every drop of spirit power and still been unable to shake off the grass's interference. Clearly, Wang Li had trained specifically with his spirit and spirit abilities for a long time. On top of that, his physical attributes were unusually strong. His speed and strength rivaled those of beast spirit masters at the same level. No wonder running 25 laps hadn't exhausted him. Qin Ming decided to keep observing him and let him spar with a range of spirit masters: offensive systems, agility attack types, beast spirits, tool spirits, to build up his practical combat experience. By the time the sun was high, the academy cafeteria staff had already brought the lunches to the campus. The main dishes were rich stews and thick soups, with soft carrots and potatoes that smelled wonderful. Rice was the staple, with plenty of vegetables and fruit to balance nutrition. The meat was surprisingly tender. Wang Li privately wondered if Heaven-Do Royal Academy raised a number of low-level spirit beasts under 100 years old, because the texture and flavor were far too good for ordinary animals. They ate on a terrace beside the sports field, an almost suspended platform with both open and semi-enclosed sections. The view was excellent. You could see the mountain and the foothills at once. After the meal, Duguyan leaned back in her chair, eyes half closed, basking in the sun. Her spirit had a poison attribute, so she loved the warmth. She murmured softly, "Xiaoli, in the afternoons we'll cultivate by ourselves. I'll take you to the simulated cultivation environment that suits your spirit best. From now on, it'll be like this. Training in the morning, cultivating in the afternoon. We get 4 days off each month. The next break is in about half a month. When we have a holiday, Yan Yanjie will take you to Heaven-Do City to have fun. There are so many delicious foods and interesting places. If Grandpa's free, he'll come pick me up and I'll ask him to take us around." Wang Li felt a lump in his throat. Things were falling into place better than he'd expected. Through Duguyan, he could reach Dugubo, and that could mean access to immortal herbs. If a titled Douluo agreed to spar with him, the experience he could gain, he couldn't refuse the opportunity. "Okay," he said. "I've always been in Fasinuo Province. I've never been to Diao Province or Heaven-Do City." As Dugubo's granddaughter, Duguyan knew Heaven-Do City inside and out. She cheerfully began to describe the city. Half an hour later, she took Wang Li to search among the hundreds of simulated cultivation environments on the mountain and at its base until they found the one that best suited his blue-silver grass. Then she left to cultivate on her own. Wang Li's precocious talent and 25 spirit power at 9 years old put pressure on her too. Left alone, Wang Li didn't immediately start his training. He replayed the morning's battle in his mind. The blue lightning tyrant dragon spirit was incredibly dangerous. Its lightning attribute could shred his blue-silver grass. His survival had hinged on 2 self-developed movement spirit abilities, instant step and explosive feet, that let him avoid the brunt of Yu Tianheng's costly, high-powered attacks. Without them, even with his physical strength, he might have been unable to withstand repeated lightning strikes. And although his revival spirit ability could restore him quickly if lightning got inside his body, that required sufficient spirit power to maintain. The conclusion was clear. His spirit power was too low. His immediate goal had to be to raise his spirit power rapidly into a reasonable range so his second spirit skill could work properly. If he could reach level 30, he could use the academy to hunt the plant spirit beasts known for extreme vitality and absorb their spirit rings and life essences. That would accelerate his blue-silver grass's evolution. With a plan set, Wang Li settled into the simulated environment. The effect was immediate. The air carried the fresh green scent of plants. The breeze felt alive. His pores seemed to open as he absorbed the abundant free spirit power from the world around him. His spirit and spirit power became unusually active. He cycled through his meditation method again and again, fully concentrated and absorbed. When he finally opened his eyes, stars had come out. A smile spread over his face. 26th level spirit power came naturally. I was already close. The morning fight and the afternoon cultivation were perfect timing. He stood, dusted himself off, and walked out of the simulation. All that training made me hungry again. I'll grab something to eat and get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow, I've got to get up early to run. Before I leave Heaven-Do Royal Academy, I'll probably be under Qin Ming's training every day. When will this running ever end? Maybe I should sign up to smash rocks and jump off waterfalls. Only then would I really get trained. 4 days later, Wang Li arrived at the sports field that morning as usual. Other students came in one after another. Having sparred with him, they treated him with friendly respect. He didn't notice anything amiss until Duguyan showed up looking unusually subdued, as if something had happened. "Yan Yanjie, what's wrong?" he asked. Duguyan forced a smile and answered vaguely, "Xiaoli, it's going to rain." Wang Li paused and reached out with his senses. The air felt heavy and humid, not the pleasant warmth of an ordinary shower, but a chill that went right to the bone. Chapter 56, Rain Curtain Training, went on as usual today, but Duguyan was clearly distracted. Wang Li ran beside her, listening to her mutter under her breath as they went. "Keep going," she said. "At least make it through this morning." Not long after they started, she began to pant, a strange sign given her normally good condition. The mountain air had condensed into mist, and each time Duguyan gasped, cold vapor slid into her lungs. Wang Li glanced at her and called out, "Yan Yan Jie, don't breathe through your mouth. Taking in so much cold air lets evil in and will only make you worse. If you really feel bad, tell Teacher Chin, he'll understand." He had guesses about what was wrong, but it wasn't something he could blurt out. Duguyan closed her mouth at his admonition and tried to steady her breathing. She looked at him and gave a mischievous little smile. "This is my sister's secret," she said. "I don't want outsiders to know. Since you saw it today, don't tell anyone. Go ahead and lead for a bit. Next time we go to Heaven-Do City, I'll buy you candied hawthorns." Wang Li could only stare. She treated him like a child. He was only 9, after all, and dangled candied hawthorns like a bribe. He ran ahead as she asked, breaking the wind for her and shielding her from that clammy chill. Then, after a moment's thought, he added, "Yan Yan Jie, my second soul skill can heal injuries and suppress some negative conditions. If you're really uncomfortable, I can try." Duguyan smiled, but it didn't reach her pale face. She pressed her lips together and said quietly, "It won't work. If a healing spirit ability could fix this, my grandfather would have long since brought in high-level healers. This is innate." Wang Li fell silent. No amount of arguing would change it. If his skill could help, he'd find out when he tried. The chance came sooner than either of them expected. Duguyan's breaths grew ragged and painful. She dropped to her knees and gasped for air. Wang Li stopped, turned back, and grasped her hand. It was like holding ice. He immediately summoned his spirit and released his ability. "Maybe it will help," he murmured. "I don't want to see Yan Yan Jie suffer." Blue-silver grass coiled around Duguyan's wrist where his fingers held her. As his second spirit ring shone, Wang Li's spirit power converted into life force and flowed into Duguyan along the grass. Air can carry life force too, but using his own body or the blue-silver grass as a conduit prevented dissipation and waste. Duguyan had been about to refuse, but she stopped mid-word. She knew her body better than anyone. The sensation that washed through her was like a drought-stricken land suddenly drenched by blessed rain. The mysterious warmth revived her, her limbs, bones, and organs all filled with heat and life, and the gnawing pain receded. The toxins that had been eroding her were being suppressed. Her poison came from her spirit. It had gnawed at her from the womb. At first it was faint, but as she gained spirit rings, the poison grew stronger and more corrosive. The more power she accumulated, the faster the toxin ate away at her. Even the master of poisons, Poison Douluo Dugu Bo, couldn't solve it. Wang Li's second soul skill looked like a healing ability, but its true power was different. It converted spirit power into life force that anyone could absorb. Once absorbed, that life force nurtured the body's essence and awakened its vitality. With that vitality active, injuries healed and negative factors were resisted. That was why Wang Li could actually help Duguyan when ordinary healers couldn't. The life force didn't heal directly so much as rouse her own body to fight back. Duguyan felt warmth deepen, yawned, and mumbled in a drowsy voice, "It's so warm, I want to sleep." Her eyelids grew heavy, and she sank into a deep sleep, collapsing forward into Wang Li's arms. He felt the contrast. Moments before, ice, now like holding a brazier. He realized what was happening. Her body was using the life force he supplied to drive out the poison itself. Wang Li kept the revival ability active, continuously feeding her vitality. If his spirit power ran dry, her life would slip back toward dormancy. Teacher Chin arrived quickly and froze when he saw them embracing. "Duguyan, what's wrong?" he asked. Wang Li looked up, solemn. "Teacher Chin, if Yan Yanji doesn't want to talk about it when she wakes, please don't ask." Qin Ming fell silent. He knew Duguyan's background. She was the granddaughter of the poisoned Douluo. The title Douluo marked the continent's pinnacle powers, and the name poison alone made people shiver. "I understand," he said finally. "Everyone has their secrets. If you say them aloud, they're no longer secrets. But let's take Duguyan inside. It's starting to rain." Wang Li nodded and carried her back, spirit power draining all the while. He was a whole realm below Duguyan. He didn't know how much recovery she would have. only that he'd done what he could. On the terrace, 3 hours later, Duguyan woke in Wang Li's arms. She pushed herself up, cheeks flushed, and spat lightly. Wang Li, exhausted from expending so much spirit power, had fallen asleep. Seeing him still unconscious, Duguyan composed herself, smoothed her hair and dress, and moved to the window. Rain smattered down in a thick curtain across the courtyard. For the first time in years, she felt light in this weather. A small, rueful smile touched her lips. She went back to check on Wang Li, peered at his face, and whispered to herself, "Actually, Xiao Li is rather handsome. He." When he woke, Wang Li saw her watching him and yawned. "Yan Yan Jie, is your body feeling better?" he asked. Duguyan's smile was gentle. "My body is better. But you little rascal, was it comfortable sleeping while holding your sister?" Wang Li pouted. "Not comfortable. One moment, you were an ice block. The next, you were a furnace." Duguyan's temper flared. She flipped over, straddled him, and pinched his cheeks with her fair, delicate fingers, pulling his face to either side. "You took advantage, and you still complain," she scolded. "If I don't teach you a good lesson today, then my name isn't Duguyan." Author's note: I know the plot felt a bit rushed. Recent feedback hasn't been great, so I'm finishing this part as quickly as I can. With the upcoming preparations, obtaining the immortal herbs from Dugubo and having Dugubo himself act as a sparring partner, everything will be more logical. Thanks to all the readers, and special thanks to Yuejiang and Mingming for the rewards. Agreements given to a teacher were one thing, whether everyone would actually keep training was another. Qinming knew this and had already told them that he would show no mercy in eliminations. He waved them off. Dismissed. The students cheered. After more than 20 days of high-intensity training, they were exhausted and eager to get out and enjoy themselves. Duguyan took Wang Li's hand and pulled him along, her eyes bright with plans. "Let's go," she said. When he finally caught sight of his granddaughter, the smile on his face widened, then immediately froze. Duguyan was holding a boy's hand. Anger tightened a fist beneath his sleeve. To Dugubo, that boy was an insufferable scoundrel who dared touch his granddaughter. His aura surged, then he forced it back down. He could not lose his composure in front of her. There would be time later, when Yan Yan wasn't around, to make that scoundrel suffer. He released a thread of spirit power to make himself detectable to Duguyan. "Grandpa," she called, surprised. She pulled Wang Li toward him. Wang Li felt an icy chill run down his spine when he saw the old man's face. The smile was warm at first glance, but the gaze directed at him was like a coiled, venomous snake, ready to strike. He swallowed and steadied himself. With Duguyan by his side, Dugubo would not kill him outright, but a titled Douluo's presence was terrifying enough. Dugubo kept a perfunctory, almost tender smile on his face, one that could quiet a crying child, then fixed Wang Li with a cold stare. "Yan Yan, who is this child?" Duguyan hurriedly introduced him. "Grandpa, don't scare him. He's my junior, Wang Li. He enrolled at Heaven Do Royal Academy this year. He's a genius, 25 spirit power at 9 years old." Those words made Dugubo sit up straighter. 25 spirit power at 9 was an astonishing figure, hard-earned through long experience to recognize. Duguyan stepped up, went on tiptoe, and whispered into his ear. In the instant after, Dugubo's already unstable aura fluctuated wildly. His suppressed spirit power nearly spiraled out of control. Before anyone could react, he scooped Duguyan up with one hand and took Wang Li with the other. In the next heartbeat, they were gone in a motion as swift as Guimei. Inside Heaven Do Royal Academy, 3 instructors, Meng Shenji, Bai Baoshan, and Ji Lin, felt the tremor of that terrifying, chilling presence. "Did your grace, Bi Lin, arrive?" someone asked. "Yes, that chilling spirit power can only belong to him. He vanished in an instant. He came to pick up Duguyan then. Then we have nothing to worry about." They exchanged looks and returned to their duties, the academy settling back into its usual rhythm, even as Dugubo carried his granddaughter and the boy away at impossible speed. 100 meters up, Dugubo flew with Duguyan, cradled in one arm, and Wang Li in the other, heading straight for his private valley at the center of Sunset Forest to purge his toxins. Sunset Forest, being the largest wild spirit beast forest near Heaven Do City, had long been hunted and lacked truly ancient beasts, but it still held many spirit beasts several thousand to tens of thousands of years old. His secluded valley sat right in the middle of it, ringed with poison formations Dugubo had set. Even a spirit saint entering without preparation risked life and limb. It was the safest place he knew to deal with his own poison. Wang Li's head spun. He was fast for his age, but the speed of a titled Douluo was still overwhelming. Duguyan saw him struggling and called anxiously, "Grandpa, slow down. Xiaoli's about to pass out." Wang Li shook his head hard. He'd never experienced such velocity before, and his body was rapidly adjusting. He managed a smile. "Yan Yanji, I'm okay. I'll get used to it." Dugubo's face darkened. "Humph. Young people bounce back quickly once they acclimate." He pushed his spirit power harder, and they surged faster. Before long, they were back in Sunset Forest and touching down in his valley. Dugubo, still annoyed, threw Wang Li out of his grasp. The boy tumbled a few times across the ground before coming to a stop. "That little brat," Dugubo growled. "What's with your second soul skill? It can actually suppress the Bilin snake's potent toxin." "Grandpa, don't be so rough," Duguyan scolded, wriggling free from Dugubo's hand. She ran to Wang Li, helped him up, and checked for injuries. Dugubo hadn't thrown him hard, and Wang Li's conditioning was solid. There was nothing broken to show. Still, he played it up a little. Wang Li smiled at Duguyan. "I'm fine, Yan Yanji." Then he turned to Dugubo. "Senior, what do you mean by suppressing the Bilin snake's toxin?" Dugubo's expression melted into a pained seriousness. His little cotton jacket was siding with an outsider. He explained, voice low and tight with old grief. "Our line, those who inherit the Bilin snake, have a top-tier beast spirit, the Bilin snake. Its poison is terror itself, and it corrodes the body of whoever bears it. I've suffered for it. My son died because of it, and my granddaughter, Yan Yan, has been plagued by the Bilin snake's toxin since birth." He glanced at his granddaughter, pride and sorrow crossing his face. Yan Yan told me your second soul skill helped suppress part of that toxin on her. Dugubo's dark green eyes flared with sudden hope. Dugu Yan, still a little frightened by the memory, spoke up to explain what had happened. The Bailin toxin had already gotten into my body. Whenever it rained, the cold would flare it up and I'd wish I were dead. But your second soul skill helped suppress it. I went into a coma afterwards, and when I woke up, at least 30% of the toxin had been pushed back into my spirit. Even that 30% was an enormous relief. Wang Li's face registered understanding. He took Dugu Yan's hands between his, sincere and a little embarrassed. So your suffering was from the Bailin snake's toxin. I'm sorry my spirit power isn't strong enough yet to fully cure you. He glanced toward Dugubo. In front of the gruff old man, he felt no confidence. Only Duguyan's soft hands steadied him. Duguyan squeezed his fingers and soothed him. It's in the past. With you helping to suppress it, I won't suffer as much anymore. That only made Dugubo angrier. He stepped between them, separated their hands, planted himself in front of Yan Yan, and glared at Wang Li. You little bastard, don't just stand there holding my granddaughter's hand. Tell me exactly what your second soul skill is. Wang Li looked from Dugubo to the quietly amused Dugu Yan and chose his words carefully. My second spirit ring came from a 700-year-old scarlet blood Ganoderma king. It gave me a very strong healing spirit ability and can grant immunity to some negative statuses. Maybe because my spirit is a mutated blue-silver grass, when I use that ability, I can convert my spirit power into a special kind of energy. He squeezed Duguyan's hands to emphasize it. When that special energy integrates with your body, it can give healing properties and resistance to negative conditions, poisoning, weakness, things like that. But my spirit power is still too low. At the time I was drained, I couldn't completely suppress the Bailin toxin in you. Dugubo stood stunned for a moment. If this young man could indeed suppress the Bailin toxin, he might have saved his granddaughter's life. It was a pity his son had never met someone like Wang Li. The Bailin toxin had always been both the source of their power and their curse. Who in all the continent could solve it? A mutated spirit that could suppress it was something that happened once in a century. He straightened and said gravely, "Kid, if you can truly and completely suppress the toxin in Yan Yan's body, I'll promise you 3 things, so long as they don't go against my principles." Wang Li waved him off. "Senior, you don't have to." He stepped closer to Dugu Yan, took her hands again, and made a firm vow. "Yan Yanji, for you, I will train hard and make every effort to completely suppress the Bailin toxin in your body as soon as I can." 3 things weren't enough, he thought. To gain the protection of a titled Douluo, he'd go as far as needed. Dugu Yan's eyes curved into delighted crescents at his promise. "Okay, I believe you." Dugubo ground his teeth. Of course the boy would downplay the 3 promises. He had his sights on Dugu Yan, that hateful, shameless brat. The thought flashed through Dugubo's mind with a mix of fury and helplessness. Thanks to readers Yujiang, 1666 book coins, Ranmo and Hui Qingyan, 1500 coins, and Shan Dun, 100 coins, for their tips. Only now did Wang Li have time to take in his surroundings. If his guess was right, this had to be the valley that held the ice and fire yin-yang well. He turned to Dugubo and asked, "Senior, the soul power around here is incredibly dense. Can I cultivate here? I feel my martial soul and soul power are stirring. Maybe I can advance faster." Dugubo's chest swelled with pride as he replied, "Of course. Do you think I would hide away in some ordinary place? But don't start dreaming about cultivating here. It's not that I forbid it. I'm warning you, you can't withstand it. In the center of this valley is a spring that fuses extreme heat and extreme cold. Supported by that spring, the whole valley is filled with those 2 opposing soul powers. Low-level soul masters, or soul beasts who wander in by accident, will be torn apart by the clash and explode. I chose this place because it suppresses my poison. Even Yan Yan, I usually won't let her stay here long." He shot Wang Li a threatening glance and barked, "And you little brat, let go of my granddaughter's hand." Wang Li smiled awkwardly. "Let go? Not a chance." He felt unsafe the moment he released her. He held Dugu Yan's hand a little tighter, looking to her to intercede. Dugu Yan rolled her eyes at him, amused, then turned to Dugubo and pouted in a practiced way. Grandpa. Dugubo looked helpless and for show glanced up at the sky. He was a proud, stubborn man, not easily swayed by soft talk or manipulation. Yet this was his granddaughter, his last kin, and that changed everything. Wang Li's mind hardened. He had come to a treasure place and would not leave empty-handed. He had to stay. He straightened and asked, "Senior, may we go see the spring at the center of the valley first?" Dugubo studied him for a long moment. He had only just met Wang Li, but his granddaughter trusted the boy, and that carried weight. The spring, no matter how important, was secondary to Yan Yan's safety. At last, Dugubo nodded. "If you want to see it, go ahead. That'll put an end to your wishful thinking about cultivating here." With Dugubo as their guide, they reached the valley's center soon. The two opposing soul powers, scorching heat and biting cold, came to a peak there, making the air around them alternately stifling and frigid. At the center lay a single spring, split in color, but joined in a single eye. One side red, one side blue. It was a strange, uncanny sight. Rare herbs clustered around the spring, each unique and swaying as if moved by invisible breath. Dugubo's voice grew stern. "This is the spring. Don't touch it. The red water is blistering hot enough to cook a person instantly. The blue water is so cold it can freeze a person in an instant. And don't go grabbing those herbs either. I only know some of them myself. Some are medicinal, some deadly poisons. All are potent." Wang Li nodded out of habit, but his attention was inward. The twin soul powers, extreme heat and extreme cold, were pouring into him, striking his meridians and body. For most people, this would be fatal. The conflicting energies would tear them apart within moments. But Wang Li was not most people. His martial soul's special traits, the vitality attribute and the toughness passive, were slowly repairing and toughening him. The two hostile soul powers were being subdued and absorbed, folded into his own soul power. It felt like taking in a rare, nourishing elixir. His martial soul thrilled. Compared to ordinary external soul power, these extremes were exceptionally pure. Ordinary people were not fit to take them in, but Wang Li was. This place was the perfect simulated cultivation ground. Twin high-grade soul powers and a ring of spirit herbs and items nearby. He squared his shoulders and said firmly, "Senior, I really want to cultivate here. Please allow me." Dugu Yan's eyes went wide with alarm. "Shaoli, it's too dangerous here. Your talent is good. You'll reach level 30 soul power and get your third soul ring in a year or two. You don't need to take risks." Although Dugubo outwardly disapproved of Wang Li, after all, the boy had once tried to abduct his granddaughter, the fact that Wang Li's second soul skill could suppress the Belin snake's poison had won him favor. He didn't want anything to happen to the boy. "Kid," he said gravely, "what Yan Yan says is for your own good. Your martial soul may be only a mutated blue-silver grass, but being a level 25 soul power at 9 speaks to talent. Take it step by step. Risking your life is foolish." Wang Li smiled and revealed, "Yan Yan Jie, Senior, there's something I haven't told you. Not long ago, I actually broke through to level 26 soul power. I just didn't go around telling everyone because it's not a big deal." Both of them stared in shock. Wang Li continued, "I want to stay and cultivate because my martial soul is truly suited to this place. I can feel it, and if I don't advance quickly, how can I help Yan Yan Jie suppress the poison fully? How can I help Senior ease his suffering? If Senior's martial poison erosion is anything like Yan Yan's, then when I reach Soul King and Soul Emperor levels, I should be able to help suppress and relieve it." Dugu Yan was moved. The more she cared, the more terrified she was at the thought of him taking such risks. Concern made her conflicted. Dugu Bo, after weighing it, finally relented. "If you want to stay, then stay. Yan Yan, don't worry. If this kid really can't endure it, I'll throw him back to heaven, Do Royal Academy." With that grudging endorsement, Dugu Bo had effectively given Wang Li tentative approval. He was solitary and bitter from using poison for so long, but he could still tell right from wrong. Dugu Yan felt a little relieved. After a brief pause, she brightened and said, "Grandpa, it's hot and cold here. Take Shaoli and me to Heaven Do City. I promised to show him around." They would take care of that small outing later. Before they left, Wang Li asked, "Senior, does the spring have a name?" Dugu Bo answered, "It isn't recorded in any old scrolls. I discovered it by chance. When I found it could suppress poison, I made it my retreat." Wang Li smiled. Then why not call it the Ice and Fire Yin-Yang Well? Douluo considered the name and nodded. It suits it well. You've got a knack for naming things, kid. Chapter 60, Gains and Losses. Please follow for updates. Heaven Du City. Douluo escorted Duguyan and Wang Li to the city limits. A dangerous light flickered in his dark green eyes as he warned them. Yan, remember to be back before dinner. I'll have someone prepare your favorite dishes so we can have a proper family meal. All right, Grandpa, Duguyan said coquettishly, then tugged Wang Li into Heaven Do City. Watching them go, the dangerous light in Douluo's eyes deepened. If they weren't under his watch, he feared those two kids might stir up trouble and deliver a huge surprise. After all, this was the Douluo Continent. Spirit awakening began at 6. Many people whose spirits carried destructive tendencies had to frequent certain special establishments to vent them. Douluo was not one to leave things to chance. The Douluo family owned a manor in Heaven Do City. It sat in a relatively secluded corner, but the scale and luxury were undeniable. When Douluo said Duguyan would return home, he meant this house. Although the masters were often away, servants and cooks kept everything well supplied. Wang Li followed Duguyan into Heaven Do City, curious. Compared to Lija City, Nuoding City was tiny. Compared to Heaven Do, Lija seemed minuscule. As the capital of the Heaven Do Empire, its scale was one of only 2 behemoths on the entire continent, the other being Star Luo City of the Star Luo Empire. Spirit City, by contrast, housed primarily spirit masters and their families, so it could not compare in sheer size with the capitals of the great powers. Duguyan knew the city well. Accompanying a girl meant boundless window shopping. Clothing and jewelry dazzled at every turn. Wang Li had it easy. Duguyan tried things on, and he merely admired and praised. Finally, she pulled a black deposit card from the snake-shaped bracelet on her slender wrist and bought all the outfits and jewelry he had complimented. Duguyan was a quietly wealthy girl. She might not belong to a sect rich enough to rival a nation, but as Douluo's granddaughter, money was never a worry. They ate along the way until even Wang Li, with his huge appetite, felt stuffed. As evening fell and they headed home, Duguyan suddenly stopped at a stall selling tanghulu, candied hawthorn. She turned to Wang Li. "Wait here. I'll get you a couple of skewers." She jogged to the vendor, leaving Wang Li standing there stunned. He had heard such words before, but had never expected them to be acted on so freely. Duguyan paid with the black card and bought 2 skewers. Even in expensive Heaven Do City, that card bought a lot. The vendor, surprised to strike it rich just before closing, couldn't hide his grin. When Duguyan returned, she pressed 1 skewer into Wang Li's hand. "Hold this for me," she said, then plucked a piece from her own skewer. Looking at him with expectant eyes, she coaxed, "Eat some hawthorn. It's good for digestion. Open your mouth, I'll feed you." Wang Li inhaled. He was 9 by body, but far older in experience. Still, looking at the syrup-glazed tanghulu and her hopeful expression, he relented. "Ah!" Duguyan fed him, and a warm satisfaction spread through her. Having lost family one by one until only her grandfather remained, she relished the feeling of being an older sister. Her eyes curved into crescents as she murmured, "Is it sweet?" The tanghulu were pitted. Wang Li bit through the brittle sugar shell into the slightly tart hawthorn. The sweet and sour mix was delicious. "Sweet," he said. Buoyed, Duguyan fed him the rest of both skewers, one by one. After they finished, they returned to the Douluo manor. That night, the dinner had a strange, tender atmosphere. The kindly grandfather, the gentle older sister, and the cute younger brother, at least from Duguyan's point of view. She loved it. For a few days they played and ate together. During the day, Wang Li accompanied her shopping, and at night the 3 shared meals. The holiday felt like home. Deep within the Heaven Do Royal Academy, Douluo strode in with Duguyan and Wang Li. A titled Douluo carried himself with the confidence of one used to getting his way. The 3 deans, Dream Machine, Bai Baoshan, and Ji Lin, received them with formal respect, though their faces betrayed wariness. "Your Grace, Bilin, what brings you here?" they asked. Douluo answered tersely, then placed a hand on Wang Li's shoulder and announced without negotiation, "I'm taking this child away. From now on, he will cultivate under my guidance." The dean's expressions changed. Dream Machine stepped forward and said gravely, "Your Grace, This is a student of the Heavendu Royal Academy. Even a titled Douluo cannot simply take him away. Sensing the tension, Wang Li stepped forward. Deans, I'm still a student here. Senior Dugu's secluded training place has a spirit environment that suits me very well. I asked Senior Dugu to let me cultivate there, and I can come back anytime. Dugubo lifted his chin proudly. It's for Yan Yan's sake. This child has talent. I'll train him for a while. The dean's resistance faded. When facing a titled Douluo, even spirit Douluos knew when to yield. Dream Machine, Bai Baoshan, and Jilin resumed their respectful manner. Dream Machine even said politely, "Then we entrust this child to your grace. His talent is exceptional. He is one of our selected members for the Heavendu Royal Team in the next All-Continent Advanced Soul Master competition." There was no danger to his life, and his status as an academy student remained intact. What was there to fight? To be guided by a titled Douluo was a dream for many. As the three deans looked at Wang Li, their gazes mixed with praise, envy, and astonishment. He had only been at the academy for half a month, yet already he had forged a bond with Dugu Yan and secured the backing of Dugu Bo, one of the continent's strongest. Gains and losses. He had gained the favor and protection of a titled Douluo, and along with it the comforts and opportunities that would spare him harsh hardships. But by skipping the decades of trials most others endured, could his life ever be considered complete?